pledge.
Oh, pledge allegiance.
Right, we'd like to stand. Please move your hands. The flag's in the back corner. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Is this yours?
Okay, roll call. Bain.
Here.
Bullock. Here. Cassidy.
Here.
Szymanski.
Here.
Torno here.
All right, we're going to run right into the agenda. So are we going to approve the agenda?
You have an amendment?
Yes, but I have an amendment to the agenda. We're going to have to go into a private session real quick.
At what point do you want to do that?
We're going to do that at the beginning of the agenda after roll call, before public comments. Then we're ready. So, Gary, approve the agenda?
Yep.
Skip?
Yes.
Harold, yes?
Dennis, yes?
Yes? Paul, yes? Yes. Okay, so we're just going to go into,
Got to make a motion that we go into a private section.
make the motion to go into a private session. You can,
I'll make that motion that we go into private session.
I'll second it. Gary?
Yes.
Paul, Skip?
Yes.
Harold, yes? Dennis?
Yes.
Paul? Yes. Okay, we're going into private session now.
And make a motion at 11:08, we return to session. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Return to the meeting. Public comments?
Public comments are open now.
Okay, please come up to the... Let me turn the mic on for you guys here so everybody can hear. So whoever wants to come up, please, identify yourself, your name and address. And we have 3-minute timers, respectively, please.
Mic on? No?
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay, I was up here at the last meeting, which kind of came to a lot
Can't
of
hear
this.
you.
Can you hear me now? Is this on? You gotta keep it ready, your mouth.
Can't talk with your hands.
Yeah, okay, yeah, okay. Some people probably remember me from the last meeting that we had. This whole thing kind of took me by surprise, and I made up some notes and was looking through them, and I went over them here at the last meeting. I don't really see how it's feasible and makes sense for us to spend $38 million for another ferry system. There must be a better way to do this. And I'm not going to sit and argue about any possibilities or a better way to maybe do it. Some of that, I'm guessing, has been discussed in the past. But from what I've read and what I've seen, there's, just as far as a simple business plan that lays out step by step what you're planning to do here. I mean, I know in businesses that I've owned and worked, there's no way I could sell this to a potential buyer. I mean, they wouldn't buy it. There's not enough information there. So, in one key point, you said you have private owners that are willing to come in and invest in this. Do we have letters of intent, letters of commitment? Is there something there? I mean, you can redact the names if you're trying to keep this secret. You don't, they're confidential for your investors. But there sure should be something there that clearly calls out, yes, we have the money, we have the commitment. Because right now we have no commitment. And we go in and vote for this, and what we're going to end up with is 4.5 mils that, I'll tell you what, it won't go away ever. Because we're going to be paying for this. I don't care if we get 80 from the state, 20% still $8 million. Now, if we don't have investors that are willing to jump in and pay for that, we'll be paying for it. And I can tell you, with 330,000 fares a year, average $12, that's about 3.8 million. That won't cover that'll cover about some of the interest. You'll never cover all your expenses. I mean, we'll be broke and we'll be paying for this through millage until you know what freezes over. Now, until I see a better plan, I mean, truly, a better plan, an actual plan, you know, that may be something I could look at and say, you know, maybe it's not a bad idea to at least have a backup plan. I mean, let's say David, hell, I think David's older than me. He may say, I've had enough, I'm gonna retire. Okay, I love this place, I'm gonna build a nice new house right here where the ferry was. Who knows what it could be? It's like the old saying goes, what can go wrong will go wrong. And I just had a little experience of that last night with a problem I have down at my house. Yeah, whatever can go wrong will go wrong. If we don't ask those questions, and the other thing that's bothersome to me,
3 minutes are up.
honey, you want to give me your time?
Sure, I'm
Thank
handing
you.
over my time to my husband.
The other thing, I've just got
Sorry.
a couple other things to mention, okay? I don't want to get into a long diatribe here about this, but I do appreciate, I submitted these questions at the last meeting. I did go into the fact, and I did find responses to it. So I do appreciate that. Yeah, somewhere ferry service shut down all night. Yeah, so I mean, there's other ferry services that you refer to, and a lot of those don't run full-time. I mean, they're not continuous. The one thing I can say about the ferry system here, for sure, it's to me, it's very dependable. I've never really had issues with it. Now, some people may have had issues. I've heard of situations where, you know, EMS was waiting to get across, couldn't get across, maybe a couple bad employees. I'm sure that's been remedied, right? You have problems like that. But 24/7, 365 a year, I mean, from this time of year, December, until about May, I doubt there's any money made at all on that ferry. I sat there last night coming across, 6 o'clock at night, Friday night. There were 4 cars behind me. The ferry came across basically empty. Now, they're not making money on that, right? So, I'm just saying, there's 330,000 fares a year is not a lot, is really not that much money to cover the new $38 million ferry. A couple other things that I want to mention before I get off of this. The homesteaded people on the island, I'm one of them, okay? The front here is one of them. A lot of us here are probably homesteaded. And Artie, you correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm going to say the majority of the taxes that are taken from this island come from non-homesteaded people. They don't get a vote in this. You know, if I was them, I would be furious with this. The fair thing to do, if this is about fairness, okay, the fair thing to do would be to have a vote that's just come to the Lions Hall, do a professional vote, doesn't have to be a state election vote, invite everybody. And if the non-residents, property owners, they have to be property owners, okay? If you get a vote and they agree to this, fine. I wouldn't argue anymore. That's pretty much all I want to say. There's plenty of other things I would have said, but somebody else can take this.
Thank you.
I just want to see, I see in your agenda what you have on it. Are you guys going to be...
Who are you, Artie?
What's it?
Give me the address.
Artie Bryson, 8356 Banks or South Channel, whatever you want. Is it going to, are you guys going to address the latest request you have for Clay Township? And are you going to address the current status of your audit? Thank you.
I want to know why you don't do a grant for our ferry system. You're doing grants for this, and that, but nothing for a new ferry. Is there a reason?
Thank you, Artie.
I've never been asked.
Bull. That's bull.
No, that's
Well, one thing I would say, why don't we have a grant? That was another thing I wanted to mention, not that, but why don't we get, why
No,
don't we
you
get...
already had your
shot.
You already had it. Thank you.
I've never been asked.
Mark, Mark Richey, 739 North Channel. In regards to your millage, it's got a 5-year maximum on it, so that it won't go on indefinitely, number one. And number two, in regard to the homestead, I have other properties I chose to homestead here. I don't get a say-so on any of my other properties. It's just the way the government works. You get one place, that's it. It's unfortunate, but that's how it works. I agree with you, but
lot of
we
people
didn't make the
will be
rules,
upset.
right? And the second thing is, I was just wondering if we have heard anything from Champion in regards to the letter, both from HITA and from the Transportation Authority, whether they have ever responded to that letter. Thanks.
Thank you.
Mark Leddy, 1765 South Channel. I got a couple of things I just want to talk about. First, that letter that was put out last week about the Bryson family. I don't think that was appropriate. Susan and Bob Bryson are our neighbors. They're not involved with this. Nancy Bryson's a wonderful lady. You should hear her horror stories of what it's like living with Dave. She shouldn't have been involved. Jacob's a good man, from at least what I see. He shouldn't have been involved. There are two Brysons that should have been involved. We all know what the situation is there. So I think if that letter, I haven't seen it on the website yet, but if it's put on, it should be redacted, and Bryson family should be removed from that. Second of all, I keep hearing people saying they're not paying any more taxes. A millage is not the same as your other taxes. A millage, there's accountability, there is transparency. You can't say that about your township taxes, you can't say that about your state taxes, and you sure as hell can't say that about your federal taxes. Whatever you spend in your millage comes right back into you. Now, I'm not saying I'm for or against the millage. When I hear ignorance, it makes me angry. The third, this rate hike. I still have not seen anything that says that this rate hike is more different than any other of your rate hikes in terms of your gas, your food, your electricity, anything else. I'd like to see a graph, and whether it's for HITA or for Champion Ferry, I'd like to see something that says whether or not it's more or less than any of those other things. And what I mean is, if you haven't been aware, our Federal Reserve has pumped trillions of dollars into this economy. Your dollar isn't worth anything. Your dollar is worth 1% of what it was in 1913. So to sit there and blame Champion Ferry, compare it to other things. Gas, electricity, food, milk. The dollar store is no longer a dollar. You can't get a $5 pizza anymore. So if you think we're still living in 2000, you need to wake up. That's not the case. So let me get the solutions. These may have been mentioned before, so I apologize if I'm repeating myself. First, the problem here is the residents don't like that one person controls their situation. One solution is just keep the ticket book prices the same. I don't care what they charge their weekend warriors, they come on over. Second solution, just please, if I can have another minute. My second solution is this, and I've never heard this.
I'm sorry, Mark, you only get 3 minutes. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Mark, you can have my 3 minutes.
I'll
Thank
give
you.
you my 3 minutes.
Okay.
My second
Mark, you
solution
get
is
3
this.
minutes.
Why is there not a tax exempt status for District 4? That would be the easiest thing to do, right? You can do that almost in a heartbeat. We already have an exemption for the flats. And to me, the flat people would actually support that, because that would be an example where District 4 would get a tax exemption for the hike, because we're the only ones that have to use the ferry every day. And everyone would support that. I don't see what the problem with this. The problem with the ferry and everything else, those are permanent long-term solutions. We don't have time for that. You can do a tax exempt status, makes everyone feel good right away. So those would be the two solutions. And finally, thank you for your time. Finally, I'd like to thank the board. In case anyone needs to be reminded, none of these people or their staff get paid. Your politicians make 3, 4, 5 times the amount of your average citizen. So if that doesn't wake you up to who's trying to help you out and who isn't, well, there's something wrong with you. In addition, I live below the poverty line. I haven't collected taxes or haven't had an income in 10 years. The generosity of my parents, and I work with Harold and Patty a lot, they feed me. So when I sit there and I say I want to thank the board, the people who got money, a dollar increase isn't going to change much, but you guys are actually standing up for people who live below the poverty line, and for that I want to thank you. Thank you for listening.
Public comments are closed. Approval of December 16, 2023 meeting minutes.
Make a motion to approve the minutes as written.
I'll second. No, we're not gonna make it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Treasurer's report?
Thank you. I'm going to report on, for the month of November and also December. During the month of November, we spent over $33,000, and primarily the biggest expense was for the OHM consultant, which did the feasibility study, the Phase 1 feasibility study. We did have a commitment for our property option, and there were some office supplies. So in effect, during the month of November, we spent $33,800. The month of December, expenses went down. We spent only about almost $3,000, and part of that was for administrative support and also for our property option. So as of January 1st, HITA has $87,000 in their account. Now, we had been talking for the last probably 6 months. The significant chunk of money that's in that account was really from the grant that we got, the $250,000 grant. And that grant was supposed to expire December 31st of this past year, 2023. I was able to work with the state, and we were able to get a 1-year extension for that. So, in effect, we have $87,000 to work with for the balance of 2024. Given that, I would like to, at the next meeting, present a budget for consideration, recognizing that we're going to have to probably limit some of our expenses, especially as it relates to doing any further feasibility study. So I'll submit a budget for review and approval then. The second thing is the audit. This has been a very challenging audit, much more intense than I've ever, we had last year, and certainly I've ever gone through. And I work for a healthcare system, and that's a heck of an audit. There's been a lot of scrutiny in this one. Interesting is, just received this week a conversation or a communication from the auditors explaining, how our audit is and how we should proceed forward. We haven't been able to dissect what they've said and what does that really mean. It may mean more expenses for us, but we have some work that we need to do before we can really officially take the audit and file the audit with any of their findings. So they basically said, because there isn't any financial penalty for having an audit being late, it was okay for us to, to ponder on their recommendations. So at this point, is we don't have an audit to submit as far as the board and any findings that they have. So we have some work that we need to do from just some of the conversations that I've had with the audit people of what are next steps for us. That said, I don't have anything else.
Thank you, Gary. So any old business?
You want to read that?
I'm not reading nothing. We're going to go to chairman's report. That I did a lot of reading. So, yeah, I was sorry for not making the 13th meeting because I was sick.
I'll make the motion that we file the treasury report.
Okay, make the motion. I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye. Okay, you're right. So I did a lot of reading while I was off, and I reread the recommendations from the Michigan State and MDOT, and I'm going to really be pursuing this one. 10-2 recommendations from that findings that they had. It says, the lack of supervision and governance may pose a serious threat to Highland residents and welfare and downturns towards local effectiveness of authorities. So I'm going to be contacting the state and the federal government about the lack of supervision and governance. Wow, it's not mine. Ensuring fair services need to be Island residents need by facilitating service procurement, contracting, operation, governance, and enforcements. Because in the state of Michigan here, I don't know who, and I still can't find anybody that is gonna look at docks and ferry ramps and anything else from a civil engineering point. There's nothing. And it's, they were talking about, you know, the need to ensure the mobility and transportation and welfare of island residents and the communities. And that's what we really need to look at. So that was what I was doing while I was rehabilitating. So that's all I have. Maureen?
Come up here.
There's a mic up there.
So just some information for the board. Blanket informative emails are going out to everyone who's signed up regarding upcoming meetings and developments. The website's been filled with a lot of new information regarding the history, because everybody wants to know the history between Champion Auto Ferry, the Bryson family, and HITA. There's a handout here, which is the first page. On the website, there are almost 70 pages of documentation behind this, with all the exhibits for each point of the 18 points. And that would be found on the Champion page of the website. When using your phones or tablets, just click on the 3 lines in the upper right corner to see the drop-down pages, and you'll see the Champion page. Also there, you'll see a millage page, and that's continually updated after each meeting with the answers to any questions left on the questionnaires that we developed. So, or if people email the site, or if they ask during public comments, we're updating that as much as possible. This way, your board communicates with everyone to save time and share questions and answers with all. I wanted to make sure that this whole board heard the message that was emailed to us on January 10th. So I'm just going to read it. Why did you allow Artie Bryson to show up at the December 16th meeting and reprimand you by saying you can't tell people how to vote? Doesn't every single political sign and commercial tell people vote for? How else are you supposed to get the public to support your cause? Also, why do you allow people to say, I'm not paying any more taxes? Why have you not pointed out that every tax dollar that goes to this millage can be accounted for? That cannot be said for your income tax, all of your township, state, and federal taxes. If you don't start pushing back against this ignorance and corruption, then you shouldn't be surprised by the result. Finally, thank you for at least trying to make Harsens Island a better community. I respect that you do this without any monetary or political gain, and that your only goal is to make Harsens Island better, not only for our community, but the visitors as well. So I did email that to you, board. I just wanted you to see it, to make note. And the last thing, as you're aware, Clay Township has over $850,000 available in ARPA funds. These are funds that were given during COVID, I believe to be used for public safety. The Clay Township Board is having a workshop to discuss how to spend these funds, and the board will decide. They must be spent by the end of the year or be forfeited. So hopefully, most of you will be able to attend the Monday, January 15th Clay meeting at 6 p.m. Your funding request is on the agenda, and hopefully there is community support at that meeting or by emails to Clay Township Board or HITA. If awarded to HITA, less tax dollars would be required by the taxpayers, and maybe the millage would be necessary, and true support from our local government would be displayed.
Thank you, Maureen. Oh, I got something to add to it too, because we had a big interview with the Times Herald being skipped Thursday. I think it lasted for about an hour. It's going to be coming out soon, so just letting you know it's coming. All right, poll watcher challengers. Yeah, do that because I have no idea what that is.
Okay, last meeting, we nominated 5 people to be poll watchers and challengers at the upcoming election. 2 of the people we had nominated had to withdraw for personal reasons. So I'd like to make a motion to add 2 new people to that. I'd like to nominate Carol Funke and Sue Torno as potential poll watchers. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Yeah. So under new business, we have recognition letters for police and fire chief for their services to the island and their just recognition to them. Chief Coach, oh man, wow, Chief, 24 years. So this is Chief Rose. Chief Rose, you here? Sir, I love you. So I'd like to present this to you, Chief Rose, from the Harsens Island Transportation Authority, and your recognition and your services to all the fires we've had lately to the island. So, thank you so much.
And I would like to thank everybody for this award. I'm here for our community along with our firefighters. We're here to support the residents of the island and the mainland. And anybody needs anything, just give us a call and we'll be there for you. Thank you very much.
Thank you for coming.
You're a good man.
Thank you.
Do they have more?
And we've got one for Police Chief.
Read it if you want.
I'll take it. It says, Harsens Island Transportation Authority awards the excellence awards the Police Chief Michael Coach for over 20 years of service of keeping our community safe. Your dedicated effort and faithful service is highly appreciated. He's a good man too. So I'll deliver that to him personally. So, thank you again, Chief.
You're welcome. Thank you.
24 calendar. Go with that, Skip.
Okay.
I'm saying quarterly.
Quarterly?
Quarterly.
Okay, we have to establish a calendar at the beginning of the year. That's what we're doing right now. We'd like to do that on a quarterly basis. We'll publish those quarterly dates in on the website. We do have the option to call more frequent meetings, special meetings, that kind of thing. We would post those in accordance with the Open Meetings Act, which we have to have it 18 hours in advance. So I know some people have commented, why don't you post things earlier? Why the short notice? Well, this is what the law is, this is what we're doing, and we're following that. So I have a motion to
Make a motion for the meetings on a quarterly basis.
Question.
yes.
When would be our next meeting then? Would that be in
I think
March?
I put February 10th on the website because I thought because of the millage you'd want to have another one. I don't know.
I would think we'd want to have a meeting after the
vote.
vote, just to be able to say, okay, what are next steps? So,
Well, we can call a special meeting for that.
Yeah.
We have the opportunity to call a special meeting as long as we put it 18 hours in advance and post it everywhere, township and everything. So I think we should just keep with the quarterly meetings, and then if we need a special meeting, we'll have it.
okay.
So tentatively, you're saying April 13th then?
April 13th, yeah.
So take February 10th off. You don't want a meeting.
Take February
before
10th off.
Okay.
If we need a special meeting after that, we'll just post it. But if you want, we'll post it longer than 18 hours. I mean, it doesn't matter. We can put it a week advance. I don't care.
So when's the next meeting then?
So
April 13th.
April, we can do it as a special meeting on any time in April after the vote.
Okay, but the regular scheduled one, independent of a special, when, that'd be April then?
13th.
April
13th.
13th.
Okay,
Stick with the schedule following the HIFSCA meeting.
Yes.
okay.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Do you want to make a motion for these resolutions on the awards?
Yes, we'll make the motion for the resolutions and handing them off to the chief. I'll make a motion for the resolutions for the fire chief and police chief in recognitions of their good services to the community of Harsens Island and Clay Township as a whole.
Second.
Support.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Public comments again.
What's a poll watcher?
Harold, you can be a poll watcher.
What is a poll watcher?
Watch the polls. I don't know. I don't even know what a poll watcher is. I've never heard of such a thing.
Tutorial.
There is.
Yeah, there is.
We have poll watchers and poll challengers. And we can actually put that up on the website so people can look up on it and what it is. It's much more involved than I would have ever thought. People have the ability, we can appoint people, they can sit and watch the polls. If there's people coming in that they want to challenge, they can do it in a discreet and courteous manner. They be there when where the votes are counted, be there when absentee ballots are counted, that kind of thing, just to make sure everything is on the up and up. So as an organization, we have the right to, nominate people to do that. There's a period you have to do it, it's 30 days, no more than 30 days before and no more than, or less than 20 days, kind of a thing. But we'll post that up on the website if anybody's interested or, wants to get educated on it.
Thank you.
Sounds like you're our guy, Harold.
No, I just asked a question.
We can add you.
Let's do public comment.
Thank you. Is this on? Yes? Okay. There's about 4 or 5 things since the last meeting that I really want to address, and I agree. Bryson family name should not be associated with Champions Ferry. Champions Ferry is Champions Ferry. Tashmoo is Tashmoo. Artie is Artie. However, if the overlaps and you see the overlap of family businesses, then it is right, but they should not be bashed. And I do believe that that name is also, I was unhappy. Now, the second piece is, all of a sudden, District 4 has been changed if you want to be excluded and you do not have a road that goes to your property. Now, does that mean that if I put a culvert in and I put in my own road, or if I put in a bridge to my house, but my land is on the other side, that needs to be clarified. The third piece I have, real quick, how many people fighting against this own vacation rental properties on this island, because it is quickly becoming greater than 50% of our buildings and our structures are rentals, including off island. That's all.
What was your name?
Sue Torno. 8331. Lagoon.
Thank you, Sue.
I'm not the one that's going to tell her to shut up. Nope.
Nope, I wouldn't even get close to that one. What are public comments? We're going to close public comments.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.